What's good, YouTube? This your man Spiel Dog. I was sitting there watching that at the press conference with Teofimo Lopez and Shakur Stevenson. And I hope people realize how good of a fight this gonna be. I got Shakur all day in this fight, but let's make no mistake about it. Teofimo Lopez is a damn good fighter. I mean, he the truth too. If you ask my opinion, uh, Tank, Shakur, Devin, Teofimo, until Boots moved up to 154. Boots, them five right there was the cream, as the creme de la creme, as they call it, from 147 on down. Those are the top dogs, them five right there. You got Antoine Russell on the outside looking in. You got a few guys that Keyshawn Davis kind of on the outside looking in, but he right there. You got Schofield Jr., you got Abdullah Mason, you got a crop of good youngins coming up, but the top guys is Teo, Shakur, Tank, and Devin. Ain't no doubt about it. And, the little slip up Teo had with Cambosis, man, that, people really shouldn't take a lot from that. I actually think he borderline bipolar like his father. And I just think for whatever reason, something was going on with Teofimo that night. You could tell before the fight, he just did not look himself. And he fought like he just came out there to knock dude out and didn't have no respect for him. And you cannot get that cocky in professional boxing when you fighting a guy that's in the top 5, top 10, and treat them like it's a sparring partner. You might fuck around and go in there and find yourself in a fight and just really not mentally prepared for it. I don't think Cambosis is no better fighter than Teofimo Lopez. I just think he caught Teo on the right night, which is why, and I think that's why Shakur said when he sit up there on the stage, Teofimo is talented, but you could mentally he seems like he's somewhat shallow and weak, by his little meltdowns he have on social media and different things of that nature. I think it was a mental thing that night when he lost to Cambosis. I just think he wasn't locked in. I really don't think so. Now to Teo's defense, when he fight the top guys, Lomachenko, Josh Taylor, fight people on that level, he's locked in. And to his defense, he has fought better fighters. Them just facts. He has fought better fighters. But I think Shakur is better than everybody he's been in the ring with, including himself. And for me, the only way I think Teo win this fight is if he can use his athleticism and get off a big shot that Shakur don't see coming and possibly hurt him. But I don't think that'll happen. But I think that would be his best chance on winning. I don't see him outboxing Shakur nowhere. I don't see none of them outboxing Shakur. The reason why I always kind of favor Tank against Shakur is because Tank got that TNT. Tank got that pop, and Tank is a much better boxer than he showed against Lamont Roach. Tank and Teofimo put me in the same. I see them in the same as far as mentally they cannot be there. Tank can sometimes not be locked all the way in. Like when he missed weight and lost his belt some years ago, not making weight. That's being not locked in. When you don't make weight, especially when you've been boxing as long as Tank have, and you at the level they have, you don't miss weight. For a title shot, you hadn't been champion that long. You don't come in there missing weight. And if you look back on it, ever since he missed weight like that, it looked like he transformed his whole body. Because remember, Tank used to be real chunky before the fights and have to lose a gang of weight. After that fight, it seemed like the slimmer version of Tank. Tank came out slimmer, more. It looked like he had started focusing more on like cardio and maybe like yoga or some shit like that, where it wasn't so much about the weights and all that, but it's about being limber and loose. It seemed like, and having more speed, and it looked like I felt like his speed picked up, and because the fight with Frank Martin, that was beautiful how Tank set that up. Frank Martin ain't no fucking slouch. And yeah, Tank lost those first rounds, but he lost them on purpose. See, Tank do shit like that. That's the only reason why I said my biggest fear with Tank fighting Devin and Shakur is if he don't get the knockout, he probably won't win. I would think they would outpoint him because Tank, you know, Tank take rounds off trying to set up his big shots, and it almost always worked except the one time it didn't work with Lamont Roach. So it ain't like his style is not effective. It's a motherfucker. I mean, the man lost. He ain't lost. Well, you could say he lost that fight, but on the books, he ain't lost no fights. He just had a draw. And he fought the best of the best. No, but he fought the ones right up under the best of the best. And it's about that time, I see, it looked like he want to check out, but now that he didn't have that Jake Paul fight, we will get one or two of these big ones because the fact that he had that much money on deck, it's going to be hard for him to leave without getting that much money, I believe. I believe he may have to take two fights to get what he was going to get in that one fight with Jake. But he will have to fight Devin Haney or Ryan Garcia. He will have to fight one of these top level, not necessarily all about skill, but top selling fighters, to get the type of bag that he gonna be looking for. He gotta fight, he gonna have to fight one of these top dogs. I don't now that the Jake Paul fight flew away. And I don't really think he got a problem with it. I don't. I just think when you make it where a guy don't have to fight these guys and make more money than everybody else, kind of hard to get them to go in there and take that tough fight, and the money ain't that much different from what you're gonna get from fighting a C or B level fighter. Because it's a business side to this shit. I'm not crazy about that part of it, but it's fact of the game that it's a business aspect of boxing that we can overlook as fans, but the fighters ain't gonna be overlooking that money. And you go in there with Shakur Stevenson, you go in there with Devin Haney. It ain't no guarantee you coming out of there with no win. So, to some degree, I get it. The era I'm from didn't move like these guys move, but Floyd started some of this. I think I'm gonna tell you something, man. As fight fans, we owe Terrence Crawford and Errol Spence a big debt of gratitude. And I'm gonna tell you why. Before them two got in that fight, and Terrence Crawford turned into the biggest thing in boxing overnight by going in there dominating Earl like he did. These guys wasn't willing to do shit like this. Then Bud took it a step farther, but he did what Earl was planning on doing. So whichever one of them would have won this fight, this shit was going in this direction because we had two real ones we at welterweight. Earl and Bud, both real ones. They both was real dogs who gave us the fight we wanted, and both of them went against their advisors and teams advice and got together themselves and discussed this shit, made the fight happen because they both I think it was more about the money for Earl, but they also both wanted to prove who was the best. I think it was more about, I don't think the money was as important to Terrence Crawford as it was to Earl Spence. I don't. Because Terrence was seriously did have no problem walking away from that money if he wasn't gonna be respected as a side A and side A2 or whatever. He was not gonna be disrespected and played like a B level fighter. And the sad part about it was Earl was man enough to respect him, but he kind of didn't get the same flavor after the fight was over out of Bud. But at the same time, to Crawford's defense, they not friends and he don't owe him that. Earl did, if Earl wanted to be a stand-up dude and did what he did, that's his business. You can't get mad at Bud for when they talked about the rematch, it was supposed to be at 154. I really believe it just seemed to me like Jeff Mayweather had an interview the day before Crawford gave his statement saying that if I was Bud, I would bring him back down to 147. I wouldn't fight him at 154. And the next day, Bud said, "Yeah, we can rematch at 147." And that's when Earl just kind of, he just said, "Fuck it," but to be completely honest, I don't think no matter what would have happened, that fight wouldn't have happened because at that time he didn't know his trainer had already checked out probably a year earlier. But that goes to show you how much Earl was into his own self because it ain't no way in the fuck my trainer would have been feeling the way Derrick James obviously been feeling for a while, and I didn't see that. The fact that him and his dad, none of them didn't peep this, I don't know what the. There was a lot of people asleep at the wheel in my opinion in that camp over there. I think the money blinded everybody to some degree. To Bud stay focused. And the point I was getting at before I got off track a little bit was now that Bud beat Earl and got the respect that he did when a lot of people didn't think he could. Then he went up and fought Madrimov, uh, who he just was a bigger guy. It ain't no real respect for that. But it was him moving up, fighting a tough fighter at 154, just to borderline legitimize him going up to fight Canelo, and he went up there and beat him too. Now these fighters is realizing look what Bud did, and look at what done transpired from this for him in his career. Bud is basically the face of boxing now. Uh, Two big fights, Earl Spence and Canelo. That's when you go in there and take risk. And now these guys seeing shit playing it safe. Yeah, you can play it safe and make money for a long time, but you don't get this real respect. Floyd Mayweather took risk. He didn't, Roy Jones Jr. took risk. Felix Trinidad took risk. Oscar De La Hoya took risk. Sugar Shane Mosley took risk. I'm just saying some of the big fighters that's in an era where pretty much everybody that be on these videos know these guys right here. All these guys that really made a name for themselves. That's the main thing they got in common is that they took risk and fought the best guys. And like Floyd said, when you can't get a fight in your division, then you got to move up. When you really like that, Andre Ward took risk. The bigger the risk, the bigger the reward. Sometimes that's why I was wishing Shakur, Shakur and Gary Russell at the time when Devin Haney sent them contracts, whether they would have won or lost. I felt like, especially Gary Russell at the time, should have took the fight if you really feel like you had what it take to beat the boy. Because sometimes you got to bet on yourself. Sometimes what Bernard Hopkins did, what was that he fought? I think it was either Trinidad or William Joppy. I can't remember which one, but I think it was Trinidad where Bernard went bet big money on himself and went out there. Sometimes you gotta take that short check against the big name and take his ass off the throne. That's how it used to be done. That's what Floyd had to do against Oscar De La Hoya. Oscar got the lion's share of the money. Oscar was the A side. Oscar called all the shots. Floyd had to go in there and take that spot. And it was a close fight. In my opinion, Floyd better be lucky his daddy wasn't over there in that corner with De La Hoya. Because if his father would have been in that corner, all De La Hoya had to do was keep jabbing, and Floyd couldn't deal with that jab. Go watch that fight again. I don't know why Oscar put that jab up. Now, I was going for Floyd, don't get me wrong, but I'm a boxing fan. I'm watching the fight, and if you just go watch the fight, when Oscar was jabbing, Floyd couldn't deal with it. He would try to laugh and do little shit to play it off, but the bottom line was he couldn't. Oscar De La Hoya had one of the best jabs in boxing when he was at the top of his game. That motherfucker had a serious jab with some speed and some smoke on it. And Floyd couldn't get away from it. For whatever reason, See, Freddie Roach, he trained for knockouts. Freddie Roach want knockouts. That's why I liked Freddie Roach, because if Freddie Roach is in that corner, uh, that fighter Freddie Roach trained motherfuckers to knock people out. Freddie Roach coming to get your ass. If he the trainer, Freddie Roach believe in knocking motherfuckers out. I used to love that about him, and I just, when you at the top of this game, when you're at the top of this game and you fight in the top, you know, you're gonna win some, you're gonna lose some. It's gonna be a couple of Andre Ward, Floyd Mayweather, Joe Calzaghe, Rocky Marciano's. That's gonna be a limited few guys that get through this shit, Terrence Crawford, and fight the real fights and get out of here without a motherfucking L on their record. That you a bad motherfucker, you do that. Terrence Crawford is a bad motherfucker. Floyd Mayweather is the baddest motherfucker. Joe Calzaghe, one of the baddest motherfuckers. Rocky Marciano, everybody know he was knocking motherfuckers in the next year. So the guys that come through this sport right here and get championships in multiple divisions and shit like that, dude, that's a bad motherfucker in there. And when you fighting Earl Spencer's, Canelo, Sean Porter, Mean Machine, them fights, that ain't no bullshit. Floyd fought Oscar De La Hoya, Miguel Cotto, Zab Judah, Sean Bay Mitchell, Diego Corrales. Them motherfuckers can fight. Manny Pacquiao, shit, them killers. Andre Ward in there with the real Kovalov, in that Super Six middleweight tournament. Yeah, them was some damn good fighters. And that old tournament was locked up with A class fighters, and he came out of that shit on top. So these guys that's getting out of this shit undefeated, dude, the motherfuckers is beast, and they fight dirty from time to time. Cause you ain't gonna get through this shit undefeated, fighting straight up with every motherfucking body when you get one of them killers in there with that power and that endurance and know how to keep that pressure up. You got to do something to get this motherfucker off you. This is not a gentleman's sport. This is a dirty game. And if you scared to get your hands dirty, you may not never make it to the top. You damn sure ain't gonna stay there. This what this is. So when I see a guy like Shakur and Teofimo getting in the ring together, this gonna be a hell of a fight. This gonna be a hell of a motherfucking fight, and it just seemed like ever since Earl and Bud, these fights been getting better and better and better. You got Benavidez, he fighting every motherfucking thing come his way. Act like you want it. All you gotta do is act like you want it. Benavidez will get you in there and put hands on you. He ain't ducking no smoke. Bud, he ain't ducking no real smoke. The only motherfucker maneuvering around this smoke right now is Boots. And I think he at the point, and Tank. And I think both of them at the point where they've had to stop this too. Now I think Tank and Boots is both good fighters. I know Tank the real deal, and I know Tank got a set of whiskers on him. It's still a lot we ain't found out about Ennis, but we done seen Tank get hit hard by Mario Barrios and Leo Santa Cruz and a lot of dudes. Ryan Garcia caught him with a big left hook. We done seen Tank eat some big ones. Ronnie Romero cracked shit out of him. We know Tank can take a punch. We know he can take a punch. I don't know if I think Boots can too, though. Now I just thought about something because I seen the Karen dude catch him flush, and he walked into the shot and he ate it like Skittles. So I think Boots got I think he got a good enough chin. I just think it's up in here with him. I think if he ever get out of his own way, he might can make some serious noise in the sport. But I think he got to have a little more self confidence. Him. But I just think the way this shit going, You know, Devin been trying to fight these kind of fights, so I don't put Devin in this class with some of these other dudes. But now you got everybody else trying to get in the ring and fight now, and now we finna get. We finally getting away from that protect my old era and go out here now. It's about let me stamp my damn legacy and start fighting the best guys in the division. And this shit is contagious. It's just like anything else. When Floyd was out there bragging about robbing a bank and getting easy money, everybody wanted easy money. That's been 15 years now. Now people seeing shit, the guys that's getting the real respect and love is the ones that's going out here fighting the best fighters. Cause see, with Terrence Crawford, he done made the whole boxing community do a 360. And it's all about Crawford now. And he ain't sold out at no point. He been himself. This is why even I was a big Earl Spence fan. I still would be if he was fighting, but he don't fight enough. I can't be a fan of a motherfucker that don't fight. But and Sean Porter out of that crop, out of their era, they really the only two that kept it real from day one to the end. Sean Porter didn't get brand new when he started making money. Terrence Crawford didn't get brand new when he started making money. Keith Thurman, Earl Spence, Adrian Broner, there's a couple more, but them the high profile names. We just stop it right there. All of them got that money and it went straight to their motherfucking head. AB all of a sudden thought he was a rapper. Keith Thurman got hooked on traveling. And to his defense, he did admit it. He had fell in love with traveling, and then he met a woman that he really loved, and boxing was an afterthought. Earl Spence, hell, he got hanging with them rappers and started drinking and getting high and shit. Hell, he had to turn. It's like he was trying to be a gangster or something. I mean, or a celebrity instead of a fighter. And all of them guys that got sidetracked. Look how their career ended up going. And when you up like that, and you let these motherfuckers down the way that's like Keith. Keith fucked himself during COVID. Al had a fight for him. His head was so big then he wasn't fighting and there wasn't no crowd. They put his ass on the shelf for about 3-4 years. Earl Spence, they begged him not to fight Crawford. He went out there, took the fight, got the break speed off of him. His trainer broke bad on him. We ain't seen him back in the ring since. Adrian Broner running around with them rappers, drinking, fucking with all these bitches and all that, started losing. They done, and he made Al Heyman and him a lot of money, man. But then again, in my opinion, I felt like they kicked him to the curb after they didn't need him no more. But then again, who knows how many times they tried to help him and got burned already that we don't know about. So I just know Terrence Crawford kept it boxing and Sean Porter kept it boxing. I'm just singing they weight divisions in their era. Them two was the only ones out of the ones that when they started getting money, didn't get the big head, didn't go out here and start trying to be somebody who they wasn't. Then start getting brand new and getting this celebrity status and, acting like boxing was getting on their nerves and taking 2 years and shit off. They kept fighting consistently throughout their career. Sean just fought a lot of wars because Sean was that guy that would fight anybody. And the welterweight division needed a Sean Porter at that time because that Mayweather shit was going on and dudes was not willing to fight nobody that they could beat him. Remember how Keith Thurman wouldn't even acknowledge Earl Spence or Terrence Crawford when he had the belt. Wouldn't give him no respect. Wasn't trying to get him no fight. As if he had been champion forever. Was just looking straight past these dudes. And he paid a heavy price for that shit still to this day, and Keith was my man, but that money fucked him up. It went straight to his head, and I think now if he was to get if he could get back in that place, he wouldn't fuck it up again. But this is why you gotta take advantage when you're there. If you get knocked out of that top spot, it's a good possibility you don't never get back there. It's a lot easier to stay there than it is to get back there. Once you there, you better stay focused and stay your ass where you're supposed to be, because if you stumble, you may not be able to get back up. The politics alone may make it where you can't get back up. But we gonna get a treat in January with this fight, man. I mean, and it just looked to me like uh, ever since Terrence and Earl had that fight some years ago, these dudes is now starting to be more willing to go out here and take chances and stop protecting that so much that it was ruining the sport. And it looked like we getting professional boxing back again. But that's it for me on this video. If you like the video, like and subscribe. Till next time, it's your boy Spill Dog. I'm out.